Do you think it's impossible to find another deal, put it together, and close before the end of the year? Not only is it doable, but I'm here to give you some tips on how to make it happen. What's happening? I'm J.C Agajanian, broker associate with the Whissel Realty Group at eXp, bringing you the recap of the Monday Morning Mastermind as we do every week. Put on by the Fast Forward movement, it is an amazing network of agents nationwide sharing their information, experience, and expertise on all levels, talking about production and selling homes in our current market. So as usual, we have a few primary topics. Today we're going to get straight into it. The first one being an adopt-a-buyer program. If you haven't heard of this one before, it's basically the idea of connecting with the other side of the transaction. So you were the listing agent, another buyer's agent brought that client, and you're reaching out to adopt that buyer because the chances are that agent may not follow up with them like you probably will. So adopt-a-buyer program and how to secure more future business is our first topic. Next, we're going to be talking about pushing to find and close that one last pending before the year is out. And finally, we're going to talk about finding off-market properties and opportunities. So let's get straight into it. When we were on the tail end of the last downturn, I was wrapping up my specialty in selling foreclosures. I had REO accounts and was watching that business fade away as the market recovered and moved back into a traditional market. And in that transitional time, I decided it was a better idea to lay down my own identity as a brokerage brand and storefront and be part of a larger team here at the Whissel Realty Group. And one of the first things that Kyle mentioned to me as someone with a lot of listing experience and not a ton of past buyer experience at the time because of all the foreclosure sales that I had been working through was this adopt a buyer program. It's a fantastic idea, not original to us at Whissel. If implemented well, it can really change your business. So basically the idea is adopt the buyer from the other side of the transaction as if it were your own. So you're going to be doing follow-ups. You're going to make phone calls. You're going to be reaching out to them. We've got a whole bunch of things we're going to share on this topic with you in just a second here. But if you think about it, this has been an amazingly rough year for realtors and lenders in general. There have been thousands that have fallen out of the business just in our county alone, and I'm sure that number is exponentially greater on a nationwide number. So with lots of agents falling out of the business, there are definitely buyers who are getting orphaned out there. And not only that, even people who are not falling out of the business, there's still not the likelihood that they are going to do the solid job of following up with their past clients that you will if you're watching this video and taking your business to the next level. Most of you know that studies have been done with results like this one. Basically, 88% of buyers said that they like their agent. They're happy with their agent. They would use their agent again, but only 11% actually do. Why is this? It's because they just lost touch. They simply don't have their contact information, or in some cases don't even remember who the heck that person was that helped them buy their house 3, 5, 7 years ago. It wasn't that long, but if you're not following up with your clients, if you're not doing something to stay top of mind, front and center, giving them gifts, staying in touch, making phone calls, offering things of value, they may just forget about you. It was a transaction. It was a transactional relationship. And unless you stay in touch with them, you may be forgotten. So what are we going to do to stay in touch with them? As an adopted buyer, we can start with maybe a closing gift. Doing something nice for them just the same way as you would for your seller. After a few months, maybe give them a call, see how their experience was with the purchase, how things are going. And after a year, definitely give that annual initial follow-up call. Get them on the phone, remind them who you are. And in this scenario, we're just going to assume that their agent is doing nothing. And so the majority of the time, that's true. Most agents are not doing anything to follow up with them a year, 2 years, 3 years after the purchase. So we could just say, hey, I'm the one that sold you your house there on 123 Main Street. And A year later, they should know your name and maybe your photo as well because of other things you've done in the meantime. At that point, see how the house is treating them, if there's anything they need, and if they might have any potential plans for a move up or move down in the next 5 years, right? In the meantime, we have given them a closing gift and we've put them on a snail mail campaign as well. And this is just like actual cards in the mail, like a birthday card or an anniversary card. We use a system called Send Out Cards, and it automates all of this for us. So we do a congrats on the closing, and then maybe another one a month or two later. If we can, we'll stock down their information. We'll get into different people finder websites and see what information we can get from them. On social media, you can often find birthdays and anniversaries by simply going to someone's Facebook page and scrolling down until you see a bunch of happy birthdays or a bunch of anniversary wishes, right? Like this stuff notifies their friends to do it, so then when it comes time that happens and you can see what happens on there. So there's lots of different ways you can get this information. But at this point, we've sent them wedding anniversaries, we've sent them birthday cards, and now we're sending them a home anniversary card. So they have heard from us and they've received a gift from us, and probably even a phone call in the past. So by the time the year comes up, we are now in relationship, equally, if not more so than the actual realtor that sold them that home. In addition to that, we have added them to whatever service you currently use. We like to use HomeBot as a monthly email that goes out, updating them on comparable sales in their neighborhood. And it also gives them cool toggles to pull and push on how nice their home is, or different things that they could do with their house. Another service like this is called Fellow, and it seems to have some great features and options as well. So we've got them on their updated valuation email. We're also going to add them on social media. And another great idea that was brought up that I haven't done before myself is to consider leaving a welcome home sign in the yard, and just leave it behind for good. Don't spend a ton of money on these type of signs. You're going to use kind of the cheap H stake type things that'll go into grass that you can get from the Home Depot or something. And maybe just a corrugated vinyl plastic sign, something like you might put on your open house signs. They're not expensive, but something like that will give you more brand awareness because, of course, it's going to be a branded congratulations in the sign. And the listing sign that you had up has already come down as well. So it's just a little bit more time of awareness in the property. But more importantly, it's a welcome home. It's a congratulations. It's a gesture of kindness that these people who you only worked with on the other side of the transaction will appreciate. So in the end, you're building a system here, and it's got to be something that is routine and regular and repeatable. And so whatever you work with on the back end of your business, if you've got simply a CRM, or if you've got a project management database, or whatever it is that you're using, build it out, how frequently the touches are going to look like, use a calendar or some sort of timeline, and just make it make sense in your head on paper, and then go forth and implement this strategy. And if you do it every single time, it will pay off in spades in the long run. So check out that Adopt a Buyer program. And of course, shoot me a DM or let me know if you've got any questions about that, because it's been a great addition to my business personally. Now we're going to move on to figuring out how to find that one more pending and push it through before the end of the year. So there's lots of different places that you can find business, and while we don't have a ton of this here in our market, some agents mentioned that there are serious builder incentives taking place this time of year. Some of them are truly motivated to get these closings in before the end of the year, and they're actually paying agent bonuses depending on if they close by the end of December or even if they close by the end of January. So look for your builder incentives, because obviously they're going to have their preferred lenders who are also keyed in on wrapping this thing up quick before the year out. They've all got goals, and they're lenders who are going to probably give your buyers better incentives anyways than even your most preferred favorite lender who doesn't work with the builder can. So check that out. Another thing that kind of happens a lot is that we get told to go back to basics, and this one comes in the form of focusing on your follow-up. So before looking for new lead sources or different strategies or ways to find this final one and push it through, are you 100% locked in on your current lead sources? How is your follow-up? Are you regular and consistent? Are you able to reach out to the people that are more likely to sell or buy than are not? Are you aware of what's happening inside your database? These are all huge questions that require a lot of work, but once you've got it shaped up and in order, it should help you easily be able to pick off who that most optimal person might be and give them a little extra love this time of year. Along the same lines, we should mention our conversion rate, right? Are we dialing with intent to book? Are you hand selecting properties for specific prospects and just texting them over? Or are you relying on your search site to do that for you? Are you reaching out and having conversations with potential buyers and reminding them that we are in December? That means it's the best month of the year when it comes to them getting a good deal on a home. Explain and educate that to them so they can help add their own motivation to this process that you're trying to help with as well. And then I mentioned a little bit about hand raisers earlier. We both have hand raisers inside your database and outside. Outside hand raisers come in the form of for sale by owners or expired and canceled listings. These people have literally raised their hand and said, come buy my house. And then it didn't work out for one way or another. So those are ways you can try and find something that will come together quickly before the end of the year. Now, if you are working on for sale by owners as a tactic, lots of different ways to go about this. Every single real estate coach in the world has a process and a script for you to use. But overall, you first want to mention that you'd love to preview the property just to see if it might fit for any of your buyers. And then if you have a good conversation over the phone, maybe probe and ask about the reason for their sale, where they're headed next, what their timing is looking like, etc. If you don't have the opportunity to get that information over the phone, go ahead and schedule that preview and do it in person. It's better to get belly to belly with these people anyways, but just be aware that when the for sale by owner is new, there's not much of a chance that they're going to do anything because they're probably pretty headstrong and optimistic that their way is going to be the best way. What we know is that the overwhelming majority of for sale by owners quit and hire a realtor like you. So it's just a matter of time, and it's also, back to what I said a minute ago, a matter of follow-up, right? So give a second call after a week or two, explain, hey, I know why you're doing what you're doing. I understand that you're trying to save money, but listen, I think we can help, and I think we can actually do better and get you a higher net than you might stand to get on your own. And just go into that conversation, but only after at least a couple different touches and hopefully a face-to-face interaction with that person. And there's different ways you can approach them. Clearly they are price sensitive, not necessarily to the price that they're going to be netting and keeping in their bank account, but price sensitive to what they're paying a realtor. So maybe you start by saying, hey, I can do this thing for as little as 3% if I'm able to bring my own buyer. And maybe you put some paperwork together to that end. And then if you have to work with another agent, you guys can discuss what that cooperative commission might look like on the other side. But give them options. Don't be too hard and fast. Be more flexible, because we know where they're coming from and what their priorities are. So if you start with an understanding of that, there's going to be a better chance of you taking that for sale by owner down and turning it into a traditional listing. Another way to find for sale by owners is just to look on Zillow. They're up there for free, and usually the phone numbers are right there next to them as well, so you can dial it to your heart's content. Of course, there are more efficient ways to do it. There are multiple dialer resources that also come with an add-on sale of for sale by owner or expired lists that you can plug into said dialer. So that's a little bit more efficient. Like I said, it does cost money, but you can go one at a time through Zillow or other sources like that as well on their Make Me Move sites. One thing that I've never really taken advantage of in my real estate business is Facebook Marketplace. This was brought up today as part of the conversation, And people are getting real leads from this. Now, I don't know if this is going to fit into the category of getting something in right now and closing it before the end of the year. It sounds a little bit more like a traditional lead filter or funnel to bring in new business, but you never know. Something could work out in a short order with even this strategy. So the idea is to post homes for sale in Facebook Marketplace, and the tip that was given was don't post it as a home. I guess there's a few options. You can do home for sale, home for rent, vehicle for sale, or miscellaneous personal item for sale. And they said to don't put it in the home for sale, put it as an item for sale, because you will get flooded with spammers trying to claim they're cash buyers when really they're not, and trying to take the home, and it's kind of like a whole mess. So put it on an item for sale, and apparently leads come in. Another great thing to post on Facebook Marketplace is something like a first-time home buyer program or any other unique program, and put it out through there. You know, people will DM you straight away through the system and raise their hand again and express their interest in doing something. Another tip online is just a traditional post, not a Facebook Marketplace post. So this could be on Instagram, Facebook, or any other platform you like to use, is kind of an ISO post or in search of, right? And so you could say, hey, I've got a cash buyer looking for a property up to X amount in this part of town. And then you might get some seller leads, or you might say, I've got a coming soon property, or a property that just hit the market. It's the deal of the week, or something to that extent. And then you can get your buyer leads coming in that way. So a simple post, not on your business page, just on your personal page, on whichever platform you use, has been reported to do well, and people will also DM with recommendations. My friend's looking for a place, or, you know, that sounds great, tell me more about it, or whatever the case may be. It starts the conversation with multiple people right there on your social media platform. Finally, before we move on to our next topic, remember to keep track of your efforts. We know that we can control our inputs, but we cannot control the outputs. So be aware of your income producing activities. Keep track of those KPIs and know what you're doing, how your energy is going out. And that way, when the deals come in, you can look back and point to it and know what it took to actually make that thing come together. We're going to wrap that conversation there and move on to the final one of the morning, which was finding off-market opportunities. Now, we did basically run out of time right at the end of our mastermind for this topic, but I can share with you some of the things that we do to make good on our offer and our promise to prospective clients to give them off-market opportunities. And this is something that I implement myself in our business. In fact, even in open houses, I've got a cool pull-up sign that's about 5 feet tall, and it talks about, you know, ways to get off-market opportunities. And there's a barcode there that people can scan and go straight into our system if they're interested in finding off-market opportunities that we have access to. So first things first, check Raven. If you're not set up on Raven, see if there is a network in your part of town. Raven is basically another database shared amongst teams and companies throughout your local market. Now, the idea is that if you're all within the same brokerage, for example, we are at EXP, and there's lots of different teams, shops, and groups throughout San Diego that are at the same brokerage. Same thing with a lot of the other large companies, right? So to adhere legally to the Clear Cooperation Agreement that the California Association of Realtors put into place, and I believe is a nationwide requirement at this point, you can only share off-market properties with other people within your brokerage. So this really lines up nicely. So we have a great database of either coming soon or people who, you know, are kind of like a Zillow Make Me Move. They've spoken to an agent but aren't quite ready. They're going to be in that database. So we have the opportunity to go looking through this database for potential clients. But that's not the only way we can find off-market properties for buyers. Of course, relationships are a key to a lot of these things. And one of the things we've done is made relationships with some of the bigger time flippers in town. So what we do is actually, we get a weekly list of everything from stuff they haven't even closed on, that they are in escrow to purchase, to properties they're holding, to properties that are being renovated and ready to be released to the market in the near future. So they share all this data with us, and the cool thing is that they often are down to wholesale instead of carry through the complete project like they have planned. So whether you are looking for a complete, finished, ready to go turnkey property for a buyer who just doesn't want to deal with the hassle, that could be a great way to find off-market properties for that buyer. Or if you're looking for an investor who wants to add value on their own, or is just looking for that kind of more pre-flip price to either be, do just enough to get into it or put some tenant into it or something like that, you can often wholesale that property from the flipper and get it from them as well. Of course, the little more heavy lifting is available for these off-market opportunities. And I tell my clients I am 100% down to do this as long as I know that we have an exclusive relationship, that you're not going to be working with any other agents. I will pick up the phone and I will circle dial for you once we know exactly where you want to be and what you're looking for. And the same thing goes with searching through for sale by owner database. So we have multiple different ways of finding off-market properties for our clients, so that when we're meeting someone who's new or we're trying to do something to add value and we throw that out there, it's not a line of crap. We can follow up and stand behind our word to offer them off-market opportunities. And it really does open up the conversation and the landscape to a lot more potential clients who feel like they've already got everything under control already. So we're going to wrap it right there. Thank you for paying attention and listening to these videos. And of course, as usual, I'm happy to chat about any of these things. If you've got questions or comments about any of these topics or other things in general, hit me up right here, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Have a good one.